I'm Joe Netherworld. I'm here with your tarot card reading, your daily tarot card reading for Tuesday, April 8th. And I want to get right into this. This month has got an energy that's really begun to pick up speed, moving very fast and forward. So I want to get right on this reading tonight. I feel like there's a lot of almost paranoia in the air, like not a negativity, but a sense of panic. And I think that's just because things are changing fast. I do believe I'm picking up some sort of larger, universal scale kind of energies that are creeping in that are making people doubt themselves and act a little crazy. So keep that in mind, that sometimes even despite what this reading pulls for today, there's a general energy out there of, what's the best word for this? It's not panic, it's almost like and not depression, it's almost like a sense of dread. Unnecessary, almost comical, and it's overwhelmingness. So keep that in mind. That's what's going on there. It's a little troubling, and it's troubling more because I don't know why it's showing up. Usually, even if it's the worst news, I like to know what the news is. So on that note, I shuffle the cards. I'm going to open these up a little bit, see if we get some fresh energy in here as best I can, and pull these cards. It's a 3-card read, one main card of the day, 2 qualifier cards to help give a general vibe of the both pros and cons of the day. If you've been watching my readings, you kind of know that's how I like to work. And then I go with every psychic vibrations or energies I'm picking up, and that all comes together. But without further ado, let's pick our first card up. And it's going to be, that's a good card, interesting. A little bit of nostalgia set up in this card. It's the 3 of Pentacles. That's about wishing for and hoping for a level of childhood naivete when it comes to financial reasons, and also about looking back when we didn't have the worries and the responsibilities of taking care of our own business and worrying about our own money. We liked, as being a child. For better or worse, being a child, you're at other people's whim, and you have no will of your own, but you don't have any of those big money problems. And right there, the 3 pentacles above the head, out of reach of the child, is always overhead. It's the future. It's showing balance and harmony in that area, but involvement. It's no longer, where you just sit back and wing it. You have to kind of be involved in it. But this is the energy right here is kind of hoping for and enjoying or remembering the days gone by when you didn't have to do anything about your dollars. Someone else took care of them for you. So that's our main card. Our second card up is the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is a great card because it just means that in this instance, it's all these possibilities. It's about spinning the Wheel of Fortune and taking whatever comes your way. It's also about that today is one of those days where gambling or taking risks is required to move forward and to do things that you need to do. And our third card up is the Ace of Rods. That is a singularity of work card. It's about finding. I'm trying to set on fire with my candles. But the Ace of Rods is about triumph at work, finding your one true goal, a true business, your true calling, if it were, to pick one simple term for it. So we've got an interesting thing today. It's probably about as simple as this: overcoming your fear of being responsible and that sort of reticence towards that. By spinning the Wheel of Fortune, taking these chances. Things are going to happen today and offer you new opportunities. And it's about the Ace of Rods, which is the singularity and the strength of work, conquering all, finding your one true profession, your calling, as it were. Now, that's a very interesting day here because the inverse of that is missing out on an opportunity and missing out on what the Wheel of Fortune has to bring you if you are too nostalgic and too immature about things and you sit in the background too much here. So the 3 of Pentacles is a double-edged sword. Not to mix my metaphors, but every now and then we have to. You have to keep in mind very succinctly that you'll have opportunity today to change the way your life is going, to spin the wheel, and that what's coming forward here is the clarity of finding your true occupation, your true not even what's the proper term for that? Your calling, your true occupation, your from there. So I was thinking of a word I just can't get to my tongue, so I'm gonna move on. Vocation. That's what I want to use. As soon as you see in life, learn that lesson. As soon as you kind of turn your back on something, it's when it comes forward most. It's like almost when you have to kind of literally turn your back on things. All right, fine, I'll do this without you. Is when it jumps forward and becomes something you really need. So that's interesting. That's something that sums up the whole reading here too. In that you can turn your back on this and be nostalgic and think when like the fact that you're living at your mom's house, or you're living off, you don't really have a good job, you're just making ends meet, and just thinking about when you didn't have to pay bills and your student loans weren't due, or your mortgage wasn't due. But it is, and getting that in balance above you will let you really have the true freedom in life that you desire. Now, the Wheel of Fortune is set to offer you opportunity today, and that has to be a willingness to gamble with that has to come forward in your own self. So we've got the Ace of Rods, which is about work. So this whole read right here today is about finding your vocation and finding who you are, how you want to be, and how to get out of that rut of being in a childish way with money. And even though it might not be a personal thing or emotional or mental state, it's more of sometimes it's a reality, you just can't get, to the next level. That's changing today. Great energy towards it, but you have to be a gambler. You have to be willing to spin the Wheel of Fortune. You have to be willing to, take what comes from that and make something from that. It's also a day of, when the Wheel of Fortune is in motion, you have to kind of keep open to the signs and symbols that show you the path and where you're going. All right, and as soon as I said that, a smoke ring just formed in the incense. So sometimes, something's telling us something right in front of our face. It's always interesting. It's very interesting energy this time of the year. A lot of things have been happening to me on a psychic level that have kind of almost shocked me. I was like, I didn't realize I was doing that on a subconscious level. I've always prided myself on not really having much of a subconscious, being very aware of what I'm doing. But even with me, there's been some strange things, and happy, interesting, but also kind of a warning, like, I should be more aware of that. I'm doing that without thinking about it, and that can be sometimes spooky and dangerous when dealing with me. But I'm going to leave you with this as a more simple read, and not get too far into it. But go out tomorrow, spin the Wheel of Fortune, take your chances, find your vocation, and be ready to step out of that sort of nostalgic, childhood-like mentality and move forward. Today is that day to make those drastic steps. Whether it's assuming a new job, or going after a job, or deciding you're done with what you've been doing. That's what you have to spin that Wheel of Fortune and find out how you get to that next step. It's got to be a little bit of a randomness to it, a bit of a surprise, a bit of a unknown, a bit of a subconscious energy. So keep that in mind. I'll be here again tomorrow, as always. I try to be, Sometimes, doing a daily tarot read, there are things in the world that get in our way, but I try to be here every night. And I'll be here again sometime around midnight with our next reading. And we're getting out of Lent, which I don't like, the dreary time of the year, and we're getting into the more magical time of the year. We're heading towards Walpurga at the end of the month, on April 30th. So a lot of things will be changing. I'm sure we'll be doing a lot more in depth. And I'm sitting here watching the smoke. I don't know if you're picking up on the camera, but it's making all these amazing shapes, and things are dancing in the incense and the candles. It's telling its own story. I should sit here for a moment, be quiet, and we can watch the smoke. On that note, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.